are either transfer or first semester freshmen, right? Okay, perfect. So whenever a student comes here, whether transfer student, first semester freshman, everyone is put on a standing, and it's called academic satisfactory standing. So when you sign on to your student account, I don't know if you've ever noticed it, but it says standing satisfactory. Has anyone noticed that before? Yeah? Okay. So to stay, and that's like good standing, or like that's where you want to stay. But the requirements to stay on that standing are these three right here. So at least a 2.0 cumulative, so that's like the overall GPA every semester. That's a cumulative GPA. Next one is at least a 1.0 semester. So every semester getting at least a 1.0 in your grades. And then the last one is at least 75% SAP, which is satisfactory academic progress, which we're going to talk about in just a second. So those three standings.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So what if I'm a transfer student and my credit's transferring over? Does that have to be?
No. So that's a good point. Thanks. So when students transfer here to BYU-Idaho, their credits count as earned credits. But like, let's say I got like 5 A's at another university. When I transferred over, those A's aren't part of my GPA. So the grade and the class transfers over, but it just counts as earned credit. So did you notice that when you transferred?
Yeah, I was actually excited about it because
yeah.
I took some voluntary seats in some really bad classes.
Yeah.
Not morally well. Good.
Yeah.
So when I saw that it didn't transfer over, I was like, yes, I
it's
started
nice.
half with 4.0.
Yeah. And so those can count as earned credits. So it can count as credits towards your major, what you're studying, but it won't be part, like you don't earn in the GPA for those grades. So.
They're just on the screen. Whoever raises their hand first and can do them, you get a Viking bar. Are you? Yeah, Doug.
Oh, okay.
It's up to you, man.
I think Doug went first. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Do you remember what the three were?
Can I look at it?
You can write it down. That's fine.
Okay. At least a 2.0 cumulative GPA, at least 1.0 semester GPA, 75% semester SAT.
Yeah, perfect. There you go. All right.
You get the charity award.
There's more options to get in
Good
in
job.
just a second.
No,
So
no, there's gonna be like
there's two more.
Two more. So just. Oh yeah, this is my slide, huh? What is satisfactory academic progress? Does anybody know already? Okay, good. That's why you're here, so we can explain it. So say I, Nate Neely, sign up for 12 credits this semester, and I figure out along, as I'm going along, like, oh, 12 credits it's a lot for me to handle this semester. Maybe I'm working, just life is super busy for me. So I decided to go and drop a 3-credit class. That takes me down to 9 credits. So 12 credits would be my attempted credits before the deadline. And 9 credits is the number of credits that so say I finish those 9 credits at the end of the semester, I get all A's or whatever, and I do good. Those are my finished credits. So 9 divided by 12 would take me to 75% satisfactory academic progress, which is meeting the standard of the school. So remember those 3 that she just rattled off for us? You have to have 75% satisfactory academic progress each semester. So what if I decide to take or go ahead and drop a 4-credit class instead? Then what? Say you
out of 12. You dropped 4 credits.
Did I out of 12? Yeah, out of 12. Sorry. So then what? Would I still be meeting the SAP standard? No, that'd take me like, what is that? I don't even know.
4 out of 12 is like a third, so like 66%.
66%, right. So, does that meet? No, doesn't meet the 75. So, I would get placed on an academic standing, which Megan's going to talk about next. But, so there's a couple reasons why we have this. satisfactory academic progress. Anybody want to venture a guess?
Because we're not at BYU-Idaho to waste time, we're here to learn.
I like
Yeah,
that.
perfect. We're
Good
here
answer.
to we're here to graduate, earn a degree. And so here at BYU-Idaho, they encourage us to graduate as fast as we can. And so that is exactly one of the reasons, is that they don't want us to waste our time. They don't want us to just sign up for a class and drop it and not complete what we signed up for.
What do I hit menu?
Just the
click.
next, yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. Okay, and then the other reason is our education here is subsidized by church funding, and those are sacred tithing funds, and so if you go to some other university, what the tuition would cost, it's a lot higher than here at BYU-Idaho, and so we just want to
Alright, come on in.
be progressing towards our degree so that those funds are being used the best way possible. So.
Does anyone have questions about what the SAP is? Does anybody not understand it? Because a lot of students, their standing changes because they don't understand this kind of a thing. So does everyone understand how to figure this percentage out or what it means?
I'm kind of
Yeah.
confused.
You are? Okay.
We're going to talk about some deadlines. So there's a deadline that if you go ahead.
Okay, so with our example over there, let's say Nate signs up for 12 credits and he decides to drop a class after a specific deadline and he receives a W on his transcript for that grade. So what that means, does everyone know what a W grade is? Okay, so that means a withdraw grade, and that means that it appears on his transcript as a letter grade as a W, that he withdrew from it, but he doesn't have to complete it, he doesn't have to do any homework or anything, it's done, kind of thing. But it's stuck on his transcript because he took the class for about half the semester or so. And so by receiving W's, by failing a class or getting an F, are things that lower that percentage. So let's say that, let's do the example again. Okay, so Nate signs up for 12 credits, and let's say after the deadline he withdraws or receives a W, so he drops the class. Let's say it was 3 credits. So now he has 9 credits that he's still working on during the semester. Does everyone understand that so far? Okay. So we figure out this percentage by doing I don't know if anyone can read this, but so we figure the percentage out by doing the earned credits. So he earns 9 credits at the end of the semester divided by the attempted, which is a 12. So that's how we find that percentage out. Does that make sense? A little bit more?
Yeah.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I was confused. I didn't realize that before, that he had dropped it after the deadline.
Yeah, after the deadline. Yeah, if it was before the deadline, it would just get off of his transcript. He never even
I
signed up
never
for the
even
class.
signed up, or
Yeah, so it would just disappear.
an F.
What was the deadline?
Deadline, we'll actually get to that in just a second. We have a slide for that for this semester. So
F means fail, and so if you get an F, that means that also takes you.
yeah, so another example would be if Nate signs up for 12 credits and he fails 6 of those credits. So let's say Science Foundations and Math 108. He gets F's in both of those classes, but he passes other classes. So he's going to earn 6 out of 12. And so that's 50%, so that's below the 75% requirement. So that doesn't meet it, so his standing would change. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay.
So if you do get in unsatisfactory standing,
Mhm.
then how do you get back out of that? How do you
Perfect.
do
That's
that?
actually the next slide. Perfect. Okay. So here at BYU-Idaho, there are 5 different standings that a student can be on. You'll always be on one of these while being here at BYU-Idaho. So first semester freshman, transfer student, every single person is put on satisfactory standing, like I said at the beginning. And so let's say those requirements, those standards aren't met. Let's say the SAP percentage. Yeah. Let's say these right here are the standards to stay on it. And let's say one of them isn't met, so your standing's going to change. It's going to go to a warning. And so as long as as the student's not meeting the standards every semester, they're going to keep progressing down that whole, I guess, not progressing. They're going to move down this line, which, digressing, it's not good to move down the line. So you're not progressing. You're moving to the right, is what I probably should say. And so the more that you get to the right, the more, how did you word it? Not severe, but more severe it gets, the more that you move to the right.
Don't think of it, it's not a punishment, but it's it's a consequence.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Perfect word.
And
it's a consequence.
There to help.
Yeah.
It's there to help you really. I'll kind of talk about that in a second.
Yeah. So let's say Nate's example. You're in 6 out of 12. He doesn't meet this SAP requirement right here, so he's going to go to warning. He's going to go to the next standing. And so let's say he meets all of these requirements. So to get off of warning, to go back to satisfactory standing, go back to good standing, he has to complete all of these in one semester. So he's a 2.0 cumulative, 2.0 semester. He has to take a minimum of 6 credits in a semester. And then he has to do 75% SAP, so doing at least 9 out of 12 credits, getting at least 9 out of 12 in a semester. And then that last one is the OSWA, which is actually a workshop that students have to complete that talk about this. It talks about academic deadlines and the SAP, so that students are aware of why their standing changed, so it won't change again, kind of thing. So let's say Nate meets all of them, he goes back to satisfactory standing. And then let's say the next semester he had a really rough semester, and he just did poorly in his classes. He doesn't go back to warning, because he's already been on it. He goes now to probation, kind of thing. So you move down the line, is what happens. And so the more you move to the right, the bigger the consequences. Such a good word there. That happens to a student. So when a student gets on suspension, they have to sit out 2 semesters. So one of their on-track semesters and probably one of their off-track semesters. So they can't take any classes. They can't take online classes. They can't take evening classes. They can't take any type of class. And so some students think that is a really big punishment. But they make it 2 semesters because we want to make sure that students come back to school so that they're academically successful. We don't want them to come back the next semester and just bomb their classes again. We want to make sure that they can achieve their goals. The 2 semesters was decided that 2 semesters allows a student to make plans, make goals, and to be ready to come back to do their work, to receive their degree. And another reason for suspension is because if a student messes up again on their grades or their standing, it goes to academic dismissal, which means that a student can no longer attend BYU-Idaho. They just haven't been meeting the standards, so they're never able to return back.
They don't want that for anyone.
Yeah. So that's why there's these 4 different standings before. So we don't want anyone to get to dismissal. We want students to come back and enjoy their time here at BYU-Idaho. So does anyone have questions about what those standings are or what the requirements are to get off of them? Or does it not make sense at all?
You guys look like a pretty good group. I don't think anyone's ever you're not gonna go down that line.
Hopefully.
But maybe you will.
You won't.
I'll be candid with you guys. I've been on warning before, but yeah, I got off that as quick as I could, and then I learned about all this stuff. And now I work in the office, and I'm taking school a lot more seriously than I was when I was a freshman. But,
and just something that you're aware of. If you don't meet just one of them, your standing changes. So not all 3, your standing changes. But if you get 74%, your standing will change. It has to be at least a 75%. So just so you're aware of that. A lot of students don't know about the SAP requirement. And last semester we're working on a report right now of freshmen who had their standing changed to satisfactory to warning actually. And there were about a little over 1,000 that had their standing changed. Yeah, because they don't know about this, because they withdraw from a class or they fail a class or they're not taking school serious, and so their standing changes. And so that's why we want to make sure every student is aware of it and they understand it, because a lot of students here at BYU-Idaho don't understand it yet, and so a lot of them are on warning right now,
We're trying to get the word out.
which really stinks. Yeah. Yeah.
You actually reminded me of something. I have a friend. She's off track right now. Does that affect her, even though like she's off track? She's
Yeah. Good point.
Take them off?
Yeah, good point. So even if you're off track, like I'm off track right now, but I'm taking one class. Let's say I fail that class, my standing will change, even if it's just a 3-credit class. So whether it's your on-track semester, whether it's your off-track, whether it's an online, an evening, or a day class, it affects your standing. So whenever you sign up for a class and you're taking a class, the standards still apply, even if it's half a credit, which stinks. So like if you failed half a credit, your standing will change. Yeah, it stinks. But the standards apply for whatever amount of credit you have. Yeah.
Is the percentage cumulative or just for that semester?
It's just for that semester.
So basically, if you were taking only one class and you failed it, it would go down to 0?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It'd be 0 out of like 3 credits that you tried for.
So kudos to you guys for coming to our workshop today. Because now you know, and knowing is half the battle. I'm just kidding. If anyone can. G.I. Joe, in case you guys.
Yeah. But does everyone understand this? If you don't understand it, please let us know, because it's really important. Okay.
Oh, darn it.
It's on there.
Oh. Well,
Yeah, go
she
for it.
raised her hand in the back.
Satisfactory, warning, probation, suspension, or dismissal.
Yeah, perfect. You're welcome.
Last freebie for the day. All right. So that's that. Good job. All right. These are the dates. So the last day to drop a course without receiving a withdraw or a W grade on the transcript for this semester is January the 29th.
Which is this Monday. So if you want to drop a class and not have it on your transcript, no W or anything, you have to do it by midnight on Monday.
There's no shame in dropping classes too. I've actually met people that are like, wow, I can't take less than 14. But if you feel like you're not gonna be able to do it, I highly recommend trying to drop it or figure out what you can do.
So if you drop it before that deadline, you don't receive a W, so it's not going to affect this. So if you're thinking of dropping a class, do it before that deadline. You understand it most likely won't change.
Yeah, that day was like you never even signed up for it. That won't even show up. This day, the last day to withdraw from a course and receive a W grade and not a grade earned. So say you had a A or B or C, any grade. March 4th is the day to drop. Does that make sense? Okay. And then the last day to withdraw completely from school and receive W grades and not the grades earned is March the 26th. And if you do that, you are withdrawn from school and you have to reapply. So your enrollment status is, unenrolled. So you have to reapply and do that. So, but as Megan was saying in the last class, that doesn't affect your satisfactory academic progress and all that.
Yeah, so if you withdraw from like all of your classes, so like let's say you get really sick and you decide to go home, as long as it's before March 26th and you drop your classes, you'll get W's and not F's for all of your classes. We'll withdraw you, but it won't change your academic standing. So it won't change from good to warning, anything like that. It doesn't affect it. It does affect your enrollment status, though, of being an admitted student, which means you'll have to reapply.
Is anyone thinking about,
Okay.
Is anyone thinking about grad school in the future? Got some people, got some hands. Okay. Sometimes grad schools look at your transcripts and W's. They're like, well, so why did they drop a semester's worth of classes? And it shows all W's. That can affect your grad school applications and things like that, and they'll want an explanation for that. So that's something to be aware of and think about. But if you wanted to go to another university for your bachelor's degree or whatever, That a W grade is okay. It's usually just, they drop the class, and it doesn't affect your GPA, so you're good. But grad school is definitely something to think about.
Yeah. So if a student has a lot of W's on their transcript, shows to a grad school that they're not serious about their work. They sign up for something, but then they don't complete it, and so that is highly looked at by graduate schools. It shows that the student isn't serious about their schoolwork. So that's why it's so important of only having a few. Yeah.
Does May 9th actually, is it a deadline for anything? Does it have any significance?
There's not. That's for next semester anyway, for the spring semester. It might be a deadline, but I don't even know if it is or not. So not this semester though.
I'm afraid of what the next slide is. Is it that slide? Oh, no. It's this one. Okay, this is a helpful number. If you text deadlines to this number, 46786, it will send you those 3 deadlines that we just talked about via text message. Is it on the day of or the day before?
Yeah, so it's I believe you get the text the day of that deadline. So if you want to go back to this one. On like January 29th on Monday, if you sign up for this text, you should get a text Monday morning saying, hey, this is the last day to drop a class off of your transcript.
Tonight at 12,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah, by midnight on these deadlines is the point of those text messages, which is really nice. So.
I signed up for it. I've got, there's a lot of days to keep track of, so it's a nice little help.
4, 6, 7, 8.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
So if we just text that once, it'll text us the deadlines for like indefinitely?
It should, yeah.
Kind of like how we all got, text messages from the school saying the electricity was out. Did anybody else get those? I got like a minute.
I did.
They emailed me, they called me.
I don't know where
they
that's
texted
at.
me.
On your
Sign up for
student
that.
profile thing, if there's a setting you can go to where it's like your contact information.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was kind of pointless to receive an email if there's no electricity.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like how much some of us have smartphones.
I mean,
Yeah.
I went to the eye center so that for some reason there was internet even though there was no power. But yeah.
What was I gonna say? Yeah, make sure to only sign up to your preferred one. Because like I said, I got called, texted, emailed every time. And they did it like 9 times.
Got it as well.
This is our website, BYU-Idaho academic standards. That exact way it's typed. And if you have any questions about deadlines, policies, standards, any of these things, you can go there and look at them. Otherwise, if you have questions about petitions, that's what Megan and I do specifically. Like, say you get put on this academic standing and you had an extenuating circumstance, like Megan gave the example of a girl that got like this sickness that she just couldn't even function for the last 3 weeks of school, and it was already after the deadlines to drop classes. You can petition that and maybe possibly get it lifted.
Yeah. So just by submitting a petition doesn't mean it will be approved, but you do have that option. So we want to make sure that students can, I guess, petition or appeal their academic standing. And so students who are placed on warning or probation, they can't petition because it still allows them to register. It still allows them to take credits. They still have all the perks of students being on satisfactory. They have the health center, they have the gym, everything like that. They still have access to it. But when you're on suspension and dismissal, those privileges are taken from you, and so you don't have those. And so that's why you are able to petition. And so that's just another thing that we do in our office is we want to make sure that the students are being heard. And there are actually a lot of students that have an extenuating circumstance, which means a circumstance that happens during the semester that the student can't control. Like a sickness that Nate said, or like a death in the family where they leave school and have to go home and help their family. Those are things that we want to help accommodate students with. And so they're able to petition it. So.
Any questions?
Yeah.
So as far as credits go, not that I'm planning on getting bad grades, but what is the minimum grade you have to get to receive the credits for your class?
A D.
Yeah.
A D is pass. Well,
It
and-
depends,
but for your major,
yeah.
like your core level requirements, it's a little bit higher. You have to get like a C or better. I
It's,
believe.
yeah.
So.
And is it better on your transcript if you have a grade that's like teetering that low? Is it better just to keep it, or is it better to take a withdrawal from it? Like,
Well, if you withdraw from a class, it doesn't affect your grade. It doesn't affect your GPA. But if you decide like to keep it and maybe fail it, that will lower your grade. But you are able to retake that class and get a higher grade. So every student is actually given 4 retakes, which means if they failed it the first time and you want to retake it next semester and get an A, you'll get an A in that class. So the first 4 retakes, hi, go on in. The first 4 retakes that you have will completely replace the previous grade.
class even if you didn't.
Yeah, you can if you want.
So you gotta get the C.
Yeah.
This
But
is
yeah,
4
just
retakes, like.
only 4 for your whole career.
Or for
Oh.
Your whole BYU-I college career.
Wait. So you could 4 retakes as in like not 4 retakes for the same class, but 4 retakes
Total.
for any class.
For any
class.
class, yeah.
Yeah.